All right, hey you guys, how are you? Welcome to the prep rally. We are tackling meal prep week 16. So I'm gonna guide you through every step of the way as always. So check it out. This is the menu that we're working with. We have some amazing tortilla soup. We have these sausage and peppers you guys are gonna love. Cauliflower mac and cheese and teriyaki chicken pizza. Doesn't get better. Honestly, you guys are gonna love this menu. We're gonna jump right in and get going. If you are new here and have no clue what this is, you can head to prepandrally.com. We prep for the week. We do meal prep. We prep 8 or so staples for the week, and we get through the week with ease. We save time. We save major money because we're repurposing certain items. So the Brussel sprouts are being used in 2 ways. We're making chicken once, using it in 2 different ways. So you're never eating the same thing twice, but you're saving a ton of money because you're incorporating similar ingredients into different dishes. So it's really fun. It's great. You can head to prepandrally.com, subscribe, and you can join us. And you get access to these full PDFs, which is what I'm going to be going through right now. I've done some pre-prep as always. I have a garbage standing by right near me in case I need to throw anything out. You save a ton of time instead of running to the garbage every 2 minutes. I just keep a garbage right next to me. I have all my pots and pans, everything laid out. So before you start your prep, pause this, go through all the different recipes and station out all the different ingredients and utensils and everything that you will need to make this go so easy, make it flow really easily throughout, okay? So we're gonna get going. We're starting with our tortilla soup because we wanna make sure that it's time to cool before everything else is being prepared so that you could stick it in the fridge at the same time as everything else when you're done. All right, I have my oven also preheated to 425. We're gonna be throwing some stuff in there a little bit later, but we're gonna get going on our tortilla soup. So we're gonna get started right there. And this soup is so good, you're gonna love it. I have a large meat pot right here, and we're just gonna get some oil in here, and we're gonna get going. Let's do this. So exciting. Okay. And it's also a pretty easy prep today. So you guys are gonna love it. Good flavors, but you do not need to spend a ton of time in your kitchen to get those great flavors. So to just go through the prep list, we're doing loaded chicken tortilla soup, roasted Brussels sprouts, pasta, sausage and peppers, taco chicken, onions and peas, and cauliflower mac and cheese. We're doing all that tonight, and then you're gonna store that all in your fridge, and then all week long you're gonna have like the quickest, simplest dinners all week long. Okay? Let's go. All right, so I have my pot with oil. We're gonna get started dicing our onion. As you guys can maybe tell, I am self-producing today, so I'm here alone. Doing it before I go pick up the kids from school. So we'll see if I'm able to talk to myself for an hour to hour and a half. But this shouldn't be an hour and a half. This should be a really quick prep. I don't think it'll take too long. We're gonna just breeze our way through it. And what's good about doing these here on YouTube is that you could stop and start as you please, as opposed to the Instagram ones where you can't really do that. So you could prep any time of day with us, and you can also go at your own pace and just pause the video if you need, okay? But I'm here to guide you through, make it really, really easy, help you with anything you may need as we work our way through this menu. All right, so we're just dicing up an onion. I just turned my heat on. We have some oil in there. I have half my onion. You guys know the drill with the onion. I just cut it in half after I've peeled it. Fingers up. I just make 2 slits this way and then a few slits the other way. And there you go. And I can't express enough the importance of a good chef knife. You don't have to spend a ton of money, but just getting this shape knife is huge because it will save you a ton of time. And once you learn how to actually use it properly, it'll just make your time in the kitchen more enjoyable, more efficient. It's just all wins. All the wins. All right, we got our onion in there. Next, we have 3 cloves of garlic. And you guys asked for soups. So we're bringing soups. I think soups are great for the winter, especially when you can make a loaded soup. So these are loaded chicken tortilla soups. So essentially we're making the soup right now. It's gonna be super thick from all that corn in there. We're gonna be putting peppers. It's a tomato-based soup. So flavorful. It's crazy. You're gonna love it. But what we are doing also is once we serve it, we're gonna be serving it with the other half of the chicken tortilla of the taco tortilla, the taco chicken that we're going to be making later on. You're going to be reserving some of it for this soup to garnish. So you pour the soup in the bowls, and then everyone can kind of like make their own little tortilla soup by putting their own chicken in. You could garnish it with some radishes, any vegetables you like. You could even do some like fried tortilla crisps on top as well. So if you have your tortillas, I'll explain this one in a second. You could just cut it into thin strips and coat it in some olive oil. Roast it in your oven for a couple minutes. Keep an eye on it, and you'll have a really, really, really good, crispy little crunch to add to your soup if you'd like. Kids tend to like that a lot. So I have 3 cloves of garlic that I've just minced up in there. I'm going to grab myself a little spatula. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure why they design spatulas where the little rubber piece comes off. I just find it so annoying to get dirty. I'm like so not a fan. Like, why can't you just make it one single piece? That's why the good old-fashioned like wooden spoon is such a great thing, because they never fall apart on you. They don't get like gooky inside. So I just season a little bit of salt. I always do that. It helps brings out the moisture, and it helps get these nice and golden caramelized really, really quick. So while those onions are working, we're going to get our bell peppers in there. We're just going to dice 3 bell peppers. And this soup is going to be blended, but you don't want to blend it too much. I like it when it's like a little bit piecey. You could use the word chunky if you prefer. I don't prefer that word, but you totally could. But I like it when it does have some texture. I like it when it's really thick, because this is going to be a full dinner. It's going to be so good. So you want it to feel very like hearty and satisfying and comforting and rich. All right, lower your heat a tiny bit. Keep moving those around. Don't let them burn. It smells so good already. How we doing, everyone? You guys good? I always feel like a fitness instructor. You guys got this. Let's keep going. Come on. Don't give up. It's true. It's kind of like cooking in the fitness kind of world. Similar idea. Like the cooking fitness situation. Making any sense? I don't know. But basically the motivation, because we're kind of doing this together, which is really fun. I'm going to take you through how I just cut up this pepper in a minute, because it's a really fun technique if you've never seen me do that before. So I'll take you through that in a minute. But whenever you're cutting, you want to think of like a grid. So let's do another pepper all together here. Hold on, run your knife through it. You want to have that rocking motion with your knife. That's how you get things done uber quick. All right, keep mixing this around every so often. Don't let that burn. Let them get nice and golden in there. All right, that was 2 peppers, 1 more pepper. So here we go. This is what I do. Take your pepper, take your knife, and just work your knife around those seeds. So little slits around. You guys see what I'm doing? Around. Take some practice, but then you take out this whole core center part. You're just left with the exterior of the pepper. You save a ton of time that way. So I just press it flat on the board, cut it into thin strips. Oh my God, last week's peppers. Do you guys love those stuffed peppers or what? They were like my obsession. I'm like so excited about those. They're so good. So if you have not yet made them, head back to your PDF week 15. Stuffed peppers are actually vegan. There's seitan in there, but you could make them with meat if you like. They really work any which way. They're so good. All right, mix around, and here we go. We have a can of tomatoes. You could use fire roasted tomatoes. You could just use diced tomatoes. Doesn't matter. Bump your heat up at this point. Once you get liquid in there, you can bump the heat up because you know it's not going to burn on you. And we have 2 cups of frozen corn, especially when it's not the summertime and you can't get fresh corn. Frozen corn's an awesome alternative. So get your 2 cups of corn in there. For all the exact measurements and directions, this entire PDF, grocery list, everything, head to prepandrally.com, subscribe, and you get it all. All right, and we have our stock. I love making soups because they're so easy to just use up what you have. So if you had some leeks sitting in your fridge, use those up. Don't go out and buy onions, use the leeks. I want to try to teach you guys that you could really adjust these recipes, make it work for you, use what you have at home. I don't ever think a recipe should be so rigid where you need to follow every single detail. If you don't have taco spice, if you don't have curry, whatever, there are always ways to improvise and make it work for you. All right, so I got my vegetable stock or chicken stock, whichever one you want to use. And now we're just going to season it up. So I have some chili powder. Okay. And if you have kids who are very sensitive to heat, don't do too much. Use a little bit. Also, the taco spice that you bought for the chicken, you could 100% use that in here. You totally could. You also could measure, I just don't. But you could. And here we go. Some cumin. These things are always so hard to open. There we go. Okay. Gotta have cumin. That's kind of like traditional here. And paprika. Let's open this up again. Beautiful. All right, lovely. And that's it. So my garlic powder, paprika, cumin, chili powder. We're gonna season it with salt. And I want to make sure that you're tasting this at the end. Once you blend it all up, give it a taste. See what it needs. If you think you want more spice, if you want more salt, add what you think is necessary. The last one we're gonna add is a flour tortilla, and that helps thicken it up also, makes this really rich and creamy and yummy. I have a tortilla that I had in my freezer. I didn't want to buy new ones. So this is like a partially cooked tortilla. It does not matter. It's all gonna get blended up and cooked anyway. So throw your tortilla in there. It could be a corn tortilla. It could be a flour tortilla. I'm just gonna give it a little dice just to kind of help it break down. This is just gonna make this broth super thick and rich. You do not need this. You can completely omit it if you want. I just like that. It makes it even thicker and yummy. All right, cool. It's gonna be so good. I'm gonna add the rest of my corn just because I have it and I didn't measure and I think I added too much liquid. So you can always add more corn or more peppers to thicken things up. That's it. Yum, it's gonna be so good. Okay, so here we go. Tortilla soup is working. I'll let it come up to a boil, then we're gonna cover it, lower to a simmer. I'm going to, let's see, what's next? All right. While that's working up to a boil, we're going to get our Brussels sprouts in because we are cruising and we are working our way through this menu really quick because nobody wants to sit and fuss in the kitchen for too long, right? You guys with me? So I have my Brussels sprouts here. I got frozen because Whole Foods for some reason did not have fresh Brussels sprouts. What the heck? So I bought 3 pounds of frozen petite Brussels sprouts. Use whichever you like. If you want frozen, fresh. I'm just going to take the frozen and stick it right in. They're still in the frozen state. But you could totally put this in the oven like that. It's even better that way because then it absorbs all the moisture really evaporates if you stick it in actually frozen. So I'm just coating these in olive oil and salt, and then we're just gonna pop it in the oven, and it's gonna just roast. And keep them in there as long as they need. I want this to get somewhat crispy, like a non-frozen Brussels sprout. We'll see what happens. But if you are using fresh, just go through, clean them off. And I happen to prefer Brussels sprouts when they are cut in half lengthwise. It takes a lot more time, but they taste so much better. They don't have that like cruciferous flavor as much when you cut them in half, and there's more surface area to get crispy. They don't taste as like Brussels sprouty. So especially if you have particular kids, I would recommend cutting them in half. But either way you choose, pop them in 425 for like 40 minutes or so. Okay? Beautiful. Put your timers on, don't forget. Okay, lovely. All right, next up, we are going to get our water heated for our pasta. So I have a pot of water here. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna move some things around so you guys can see. I'm gonna move my soup over a couple burners so that you guys can see what I'm doing over here. So let your soup come up to a boil. Once it's boiling, lower to a simmer, cover it with a lid, and then simmer it, which means like on a very low heat for like 30 minutes or so. It doesn't need too long. I have a pot here. I filled it with water. We're just going to make some standard old pasta. This is for our cauliflower mac and cheese. So we're going to start bringing this to a boil over here. It's nothing special. You don't really need to see it, but just bring your half-filled pot of water to a boil. Once it's boiling, we're going to add in our shells. You can use any pasta you like. Cook it according to your package instructions. I'm just using white, not whole wheat, white shells. Don't know why, but I am. Okay, that's it. So while that's coming up to a boil, and our soup is simmering, and our Brussels sprouts are going, it's been 14 minutes, and we have 3 things already in the works. Beautiful. It's all about the multitask, you guys. All right, sausage and peppers. You guys are gonna love this one. All right, and kids are gonna love it too. So I have some ketchup. I did not buy diced tomatoes, so I'm gonna be using a little bit of marinara sauce. I have an onion, we have some sage, which is so yummy, so seasonal. More peppers. I know it's kind of pepper overload this week, but it's such good stuff. And then I'm using these sausages. A bunch of you asked which sausage you guys like, which ones I like. So I like to use this Jack's Gourmet. The sweet Italian is one of my favorites. I use it all the time. I told you to get 2 of these. I'm just using 1 package. To be honest, it's because I didn't look at the grocery list. I just bought it, and then I'm like, oops, should have bought 2, but it doesn't matter because it works either way. If you don't want to make the whole amount, you don't need to. So I'm just using half of the amount here. I have a large, obviously, meat frying pan. Turn up your heat, and we're gonna add our oil. And what we're gonna do is fry our sausages first. We're gonna get them nice and crispy and crunchy. So good. Okay, you don't need too much oil because there will be some oil from the actual sausages. And we're just gonna cut them into rounds. You see what I'm doing? And these have so much flavor. Unlike a regular like hot dog, which you could do here if you prefer. These have like really yummy spices, and there's like fennel in here. There's all kinds of really, really great herbs to make these super, super delicious. Okay, so just work your way through these and then throw them into your pan. So again, you should have double the amount that I have if you're making the full recipe. I'm just doing 1 package of these, but I told you guys to get 2, but up to you. And again, you guys modify any recipe you need. If you're cooking for 2 people versus 4 people, if you don't like a certain recipe, you could omit certain things. And I'm hoping at some point soon, we're gonna have a really sophisticated, fancy website or an app or something where you can easily adjust the grocery list or even order the groceries through like an Instacart or something. So all of that is in the works. So we're on it. We are on it. Our goal here is just to make things as easy, simple as possible for you. All right, so all the sausages are in there. Give my knife a little wash. I want to just use the same knife. And also, you guys saw I used a different cutting board just so I don't have to change this whole cutting board. I used that for my meat one, so we're able to keep it with this big cutting board that we're using right now. I'm gonna get another spatula so that we can mix around these sausages. Already starting to smell so good. So give those a nice mix around. You want them to get nice and golden on all sides. So just keep mixing those around. Okay. Kids love this recipe. And you could serve this either in buns, you could serve it over a salad, you could serve it with crackers. You could even over like quinoa if you want to make a batch of quinoa. It's totally up to you how you want to serve this. But in a hot dog bun, it's really, really good. All right, so here we go. So once these are nice and golden brown, we're just gonna add in our onions and our peppers, right? Beautiful. So we're gonna cut them into strips because that is how I like to do it. All right, we're thinly slicing red peppers, and then we are thinly slicing the onions as well. So let's do our onion first. Again, onion. And guys, if I'm going really fast, just pause it and go at your own pace. All right. Here we go. Oh, it smells so good. What's really fun is that these menus are always changing. Every single week you have something brand new to try. It also keeps you from that dinner, like what am I eating for dinner kind of rut. Kids are always introduced to new flavors. That's why my kids are more open to trying things because we never have the same thing twice. All right, so I just cut our onion in half, and now I'm just thinly slicing these. And I say it all the time, to work on your knife skills, just buy a bunch of produce, get yourself a chef's knife, and just start doing it. And practice makes perfect. It really does. You just got to use your knife and use it often. Buy a bunch of produce and just like practice using it. Okay? You'll just get better and better at it. Oh, it smells so good. Did anybody grow up with salami and eggs? Because that was my childhood. So delicious, and that's what it's smelling like right now. Yum. I actually have a meal prep coming up in February that it's going to be, there's like salami and like potato and beet hash for the Thursday night dinner, and then you're doing that same salami, but you're doing it in like a Cobb salad another day. It's so good. So similar idea. So keep moving those around. And at this point, we could just pop our onions in there once they're somewhat golden. Get your onions in. We just thinly slice those. And now we're going to do the same thing that we did for the soup. We're going to thinly slice our peppers. Okay? And throw them in there as well. It's like a really easy recipe. And what's so great about these recipes is that you can make them anytime. You can make them for the weekends. You can make them any night you like. They're all easy recipes, minimal ingredients, very little time. As you guys see, we like to bang out an entire week's worth of meals in an hour to hour and a half. Most recipes call for like a 30 to 40 minute cook time just for one recipe. So it's crazy how quickly we breeze through these, and you have food for the whole week. So you just get the most bang for your buck, money-wise and time-wise. So same like what we did before, work your way around that pepper. All right, and then down on your board. And then, just like we did last time, thin strips, but instead of going across, turning it and going across the other way to get a dice, you're just leaving it in strips. And that's how you do it when you're making like Chinese food. They also do that a lot, just like strips of peppers. All right, so as of now, your water should be boiling. Your tortilla soup should be coming up to a boil soon. You have your Brussels sprouts in that oven, and we are working on this sausage shindig. Look how good that looks. All right, you're working on pretty high heat now. Oh my God, it smells so good. So good. All right, so let's keep going with this pepper. And then we're gonna season this thing up with some sage, which I love, and yeah, sage, a little bit of ketchup. So good. So good. All right, run your knife through. I never used to like peppers. Kind of like a new thing, but I somewhat like them now. My water is boiling, so at this point I'm going to take my pasta, throw it in, the whole thing. And this is going to be used for the shells. It's a dairy pot that I'm using. We're going to be doing a cauliflower mac and cheese. What I also have is a colander standing by in my sink. So when it's time to strain those, I'm all ready to go. So get your colander set up so you won't be scrambling. All right, make sure you keep moving these around, and that pepper is going to start to kind of break down and soften. The onions are going to soften. Don't let any of them come out of that pan. All right, let those cook, and here we go. We're going to add everything else. The end, easy, and then we're going to cook it for like another 5 to 8 minutes or so. Okay, so I say 3 sage leaves. You don't have to actually count, and you could just take a little handful. It's cool. Yum. So good. I love sage. So good. And save this sage for like another time if you're roasting a chicken or even like roasting some vegetables. Sage is so beautiful. It's even really good in pasta. So do not throw that out. Okay, we're just going to finely chop this so it just kind of blends in nicely. Okay, my water's boiling. I'm lowering it a tiny bit so it doesn't overflow. Beautiful. So cook your pasta until it's cooked through, like 8 or 10 minutes or so. Okay, and our whole thing here is like one meal for the whole family with small modifications. So if you don't want to serve your sausages in a bun, put it in a salad, or even like a whole grain tortilla or something. If you don't want to have the mac and cheese with pasta, you could definitely sub in any kind of pasta. Earlier today, I actually made this unbelievable Quinoa Pasta by GNS, called GNS Store. Check them out on Instagram. GNS Supplies or something is their handle. It's really good. Let me just get it for you. Hold on. I want to show you guys. It's so awesome. Here is the, okay. Here we go. There it is. It's actually my favorite quinoa pasta. I could have used this today. Go Quinoa. That GNS brand like sells all this stuff online, but I think you could buy this on Amazon. So just search Go Quinoa. It is the best healthy pasta alternative, and there's so much protein, there's fiber, iron, so good for you. So definitely look that up if you guys are looking for a healthier pasta alternative. It tastes like an actual pasta, like bean pasta tastes like beans. Come on, who are we kidding? And lentil pasta tastes like lentils. My kids don't like that. They're into whole wheat. They totally rock some whole wheat pasta, but quinoa pasta is just so healthy. So, and it happens to be an amazing brand because it doesn't fall apart, doesn't get mushy. It has like a nice bite to it, and it does not taste bizarre. You would never know it's anything other than like a regular pasta. So it's pretty awesome. All right, so to this mixture here, we're gonna added our sage in there. We're gonna add our tablespoon of ketchup. We're gonna add some paprika, and you're supposed to do some canned tomatoes. I'm just gonna do a little bit of marinara just because I kind of forgot to buy it, but it's cool. There are always ways to modify and make it work. And if you ever have questions, we have a private Facebook group. If you just go on Facebook, search Prep and Rally. Not opening. If you just search Prep and Rally, you'll find it. Click to add, click to join the group, and I will add you if you are a Prep and Rally subscriber. All right, again, all these recipes, prepandrally.com, PREPANDRALLY.com, also on Instagram, @prepandrally. You guys can message me anytime. I'm always available. Email me. Always here to help you. That's what we're here for. All right, so give that a mix around. This is looking so good. Your kitchen should be smelling unreal now. It smells so good. All right, season it with a little bit of salt. You don't need too much because you have that sausage in there that has some salt in it, and paprika. That's it. Let this cook for a few minutes. Kids are gonna go gaga over this. It is so good. Gonna mix around, and we're gonna move right on. All right, so lower to like a medium heat, and let it just cook through for an additional like 8 or so minutes. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Lower my pasta a tiny bit. My soup is starting to come to a boil, so keep an eye on that as well. I have my Brussel sprouts in the oven. They're at 420 degrees, 425, 420, hold on, 425 for about 40 minutes or so. But it really depends if you're using the frozen or the fresh. So just check it in like 30 to 40 minutes. Okay. Also, if you cut them in half, it'll take less time. Check it in 30, and then you could adjust from there. Okay. Beautiful. While that's working, guys, we're almost done. All we have to do is make the taco chicken, the onions and peas, and the cauliflower mac and cheese. Sweet. Okay, the chicken is like a breeze because I'm not even cooking it now. I'm gonna cook it later. But essentially, we have chicken breast that I just cut up into little cubes, stuck it in a bag. Normally I would use like a Ziploc, but I ran out, which is kind of a good thing because I'm like less wasteful when I'm out of stock. But I happen to have had some storage bags from Mellow, my sous vide. So I'm just using that. Kind of came in handy. I have some Southwest taco spice. So any kind of taco seasoning you like. They sell some in like the spice section, obviously, and like containers like this. This is what I ordered online, and it's totally fine. It's perfect. It has all the spices you want all in one shot. You don't have to sit there and like mix your own thing unless you want to. So add your spices, and we're gonna add a little bit of oil, and we're just gonna let this marinate overnight. So you could cook it fresh the night you're gonna serve it, or if you wanted to cook it now and get it out of the way, by all means, do whatever you like. Okay, and I say to add a little bit of extra paprika. You can, you don't have to, up to you, but I love paprika. I think it just adds everything. So good. Okay, that's it. And depending if you have salt in your seasoning, make sure you double check that, because sometimes there's already salt in it, in which case you wouldn't really need more salt. So I already have some salt in here. I'll give like a little sprinkle, but you don't need much. All right, so here we go. Got oil on it. Smells so good in here. Seal it up and give it a good mix around. That's the whole thing, you guys. And then the next day, or even now, if you wanted to, you're just gonna like pan sear this. You could also bake it on a baking sheet. You can grill them on skewers. All these recipes are so versatile. You can do anything with it. My kids were obsessed with this chicken. And it's such an easy one to just throw together anytime. I'm gonna add the rest of my spice because I didn't measure anything as usual. But it seems like it could use the rest. Why not? Yummy. Okay. Beautiful. All right, that's it. Fill it up, give it one more mix around. You good, son. It's also a great thing if you wanted to like do some meal prep in advance. You could do some like little baggies like this and store them in your freezer. So then the night of, you just take it out, let it thaw, and you have dinner just ready to throw on a grill or in a baking pan or however you want to cook it. All right, that's it. Set it aside. All you have to do is the peas and onions and the cauliflower mac and cheese. So good. Pasta's still cooking. It'll take a few more minutes. Give your sausage and peppers a little mix around. Just so good. All right, we're gonna give these another 2 or 3 minutes or so, and then we're gonna shut it off. But we're gonna start slicing our onions because I have another frying pan that we're going to be cooking our sausage and peas in. Okay. Let's see if I can bring this over. By the way, the pasta's still cooking. You could taste it and test it, see if it's ready. Otherwise, let it go. Hot. Oh. Needs a little more time. My soup, lowering, covering, to a simmer. I wish I could show you guys, but my tripod doesn't move with me. God, tripod, move. The Facebook portal, I think, that like moves with you, right? So brilliant. I need that. Or I need to just like hire someone, or Mike, maybe you should come home from work so you could film me. Cool, right? That's cool. We got this, guys. We got this. Mix it around. Give it 1 more minute or so, and we have this pan here, which I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of oil in, and we're gonna get our onions sauteing in there. So this is just like literally sauteed onions with some green peas, and I like to season it with some salt and onion powder. I didn't even put onion powder in the recipe, but I do like to add onion powder. Even though there's already onion in it, the onion powder gives it like a whole different flavor. So I like to add both of those spices, but totally up to you. You can also leave out the onions if you don't like it, but this is like my favorite way to prepare the peas. And it kind of makes it a little bit more sophisticated. I used to make it this way for my clients. They loved it with like the onions. I happen to love peas, and I always have them in my freezer. Peas and edamame are like my 2 go-to freezer veg that I always keep stocked because my kids love them, and whenever I'm in a bind and I don't have vegetables, like fresh vegetables, you can always just reach into your freezer and you have really, really simple, easy vegetables that you could just steam in a pot. It's like really easy. All right, so cut this in half, face down, and you want to go pretty thin here. So unlike for the sausage, which didn't have to necessarily be so thin, try to go as thin as you can here. Okay, once you get to this point, you could turn it this way if you want, or just continue until you really can't go anymore, and then turn it that way. Okay, so sausage and peas, you done. Well, give it 1 more minute. All right, so move this up here. It's basically done. And it's going to keep cooking a couple more minutes while it's cooling. So it's going to continue cooking and soften even more. And you're also going to be reheating this when you actually serve it, so you don't need to cook it too long. All right, my next pan over here, also meat. Oh, no, sorry. It's supposed to be dairy because you're serving it with the mac and cheese. You could do it in parve as well, so you could serve it with any of the meals. I'm doing it in meat just because I'm using it for the weekend, but go dairy if you want to serve it according to the menu that I was suggesting on the PDF, which is to serve it with the cauliflower mac and cheese. That's kind of like your side dish for that night. So dairy pan. All right, so we're continuing to cut this other half of the onion, thinly slice. All right, here we go. I'm super excited to like start thinking about summery menus. When we're living in Florida, it's all about like the curry chicken salads and like lettuce wraps and stuff like that. I'm like so excited for lighter food, but right now we're still bringing those soups and the stews and all the kind of heavier winter. We're even having some winter here in LA, believe it or not. It's been like raining the whole week. It's been so nasty. Super gross. All right, I ran out of spatulas. I should buy some more. You'd think I have like a fully stocked house, but I don't. And even like these are 100 years old. Like, why don't I buy new things? I don't know. You would think I'd have like the fanciest and the most at everything. I don't. I just don't. Okay, here we go. Season with some salt to bring out that moisture. We're almost done here, you guys. Cauliflower mac and cheese coming up next, and then we're finished. Easy, easy. Okay. Give that a mix around. Season it with some salt to help break it down. And as I told you, just some frozen veggies, frozen peas. So good. You can add the petite peas, regular, totally up to you. What you're trying to achieve here with the onions, you want them to get nice and soft and break down so they're super sweet. The kids are going to love them. So give those a nice mix around. My pasta is done, so I'm going to take my pasta right here. Big pot of pasta with a pound of pasta in here. Put it in your colander and drain it off, okay? You want to rinse it and let it start cooling a little bit. No need to fully cool it though. Okay. Drain off all that water, so give it a little shake around. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. Put that right here because we're going to be making our cauliflower mac and cheese. A white noodle. It's like one of the greatest things ever. You haven't had it in a while. This is like so cozy and comforting. It's so cute. Okay, here we go. Keep mixing around those onions. Hot. I'm trying to like clean my oven because I just had cleaning help here and I'm making a huge old mess again. But it's cool. It's actually not that big of a mess, honestly. All right, so separate all those little onion layers. Give it a good mix around. Let that soften. You don't want to work on too high of heat because you don't want to burn them. So let them get nice and soft and slowly break down. And then all we're going to do is add our peas in there, season them up, and we're done. Next is the cauliflower mac and cheese. In the meantime, because I'm not cooking my chicken, I'm going to pop it in the fridge. Come right back. The soup is cooking, looking so good. And I'm going to bring over all of my ingredients for my mac and cheese. So let me get rid of all these spices, whatever you could put away as you're working. It's just better that way. That way you're not stressed out by a huge mess at the end. Okay? So start to get all yourself set up for the mac and cheese. So essentially what we're going to do is make a bechamel sauce, which is a creamy white sauce. Don't forget to mix around your onions, don't let those burn. Yum, starting to make it nice and golden. Okay. So what you're going to need to make a bechamel sauce, which is a creamy white sauce, you're going to do equal parts fat and flour. So that means equal parts butter and flour. That's what makes a roux, which helps thicken it. And then you add in your milk. You could use either whole milk, non-fat milk, whichever you want. You could also make this mac and cheese instead of using a pasta. You could use a pasta alternative, like I mentioned. You could also just do a bechamel sauce over like a broccoli or any kind of vegetable you like. It is so outrageously good. That's what I do a lot of times. You still have the decadent sauce, but you're not getting all the carbs from the pasta. So if you wanted to make two different versions, one for the kiddos or for your husband or for whatever, and then if you wanted to do something different, you could 100% do it with something else. But what's great is that we're adding cauliflower into it as well, so you are getting some vegetables, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we have, to make our bechamel sauce, we have a dairy pot. I have like a medium pot. I'm gonna get a whisk. So make sure you get yourself a whisk because you need that here. I think it's actually in here for making pancakes this morning. Okay. Yep. So get yourself a whisk. If you don't have a whisk, a fork works also. Okay. Mix your onions again. Yum, these look so good. Okay, we're gonna get our peas in here and then we're gonna work on our bechamel sauce. Peas, you could throw them in frozen, you could thaw them, doesn't really make a difference. I just throw them in completely frozen. Throw them into your pan, let them start to heat and cook. And we're just gonna season this up with some salt. And if you want to do some garlic powder, you could also do pepper. Totally your call. Oop. Whoa. Sorry, almost hit you guys. Okay, here we go. They make these things so hard to get into. Onion powder and garlic powder are like the greatest. They don't replace a regular onion or regular garlic. I use them in addition to. They just add a totally different level of flavor. Something is like super bland, garlic powder, onion powder, and salt. That's all you need. Okay, keep mixing that around. You see what I'm doing? Mixing them all together, let it come together nicely. Add your garlic powder, your onion powder, and set that aside. And that's it. You could keep cooking this for an additional couple minutes until your peas either thaw or cook together. If they're already thawed, you don't want to cook it for too long because you're going to be reheating it. You don't want your peas to turn brown, so don't cook them for too long. I'm going to shut it off, and just the residual heat from the pan will continue to defrost the peas and kind of like cook them through ever so slightly. So that's looking so good. You see that? Set it aside. All right, and that is done. We have our tortilla soup cooking. We have our sausage and peppers, which looks so killer. I'll show you. We have our pasta already cooked, and we have our Brussels sprouts, and it's been 41 minutes. Amen. Prep and rally. That's how we do it. Okay, last thing is our bechamel sauce, and then we're going to assemble our cauliflower mac and cheese, and you're going to actually cook it the day you serve it, unless you want to cook it today. But I usually just store it uncooked in the fridge covered, and then you cook it fresh that night, so it's bubbly and cheesy and yummy. All right, so you have your medium pot here. So here's what you're going to do. Okay, I have here, I told you, so equal parts fat and flour. So fat meaning like a butter. So I have 3 tablespoons of butter. Again, all the ingredients and recipes and measurements and everything are all in your PDF. So follow along, either print it out or store it as a document, as a PDF on your computer and read it just the way I do. Make sure you're saving your PDFs week after week because we remove one every time we upload one. If you are a full year subscriber, you have access to the archives. So just email me if you don't have all those archives. I'm happy to send them over. All right, so here we go. Butter, you're gonna melt on high heat, or pretty high heat. Okay. So I'm also gonna get a baking dish to put this in. So I say to use a 9 by 13. Okay, so get yourself a baking dish right over here. I'm gonna get rid of my cutting board at this point because we don't need it anymore. Lovely. Okay, so you're gonna use your whisk to actually mix these ingredients together and make sure there are no clumps here. So you're melting that butter. After you get your butter in, you have equal parts flour. So I have about 3 tablespoons of flour that we're gonna add in. So wait for your butter to melt. You're gonna add your flour, and then quickly you're gonna whisk them together. It's gonna look like a big, like clumpy, weird mess. You're like, what is this? Let it mix it for like a minute or so, and then you're gonna add your milk in. So have your milk standing by. And this way you won't burn your flour and butter mixture, okay? So here we go, melted. Add in your flour and whisk it together, okay? So I'll show you what this looks like. So you see it's starting to thicken, which is called a roux, all right? And this is what thickens this sauce. It makes it super creamy. It's pretty cool, right? I didn't measure, so hopefully it'll work, but you should be measuring if you want. Okay, so you're letting it cook for a minute to cook out that raw flour flavor, and then you're gonna add in your milk. Okay, give it a good whisk around. And the reason why we are whisking it is to avoid clumps. You don't want big clumps of flour in your creamy, yummy sauce. So just give it a little mix around. Careful not to like totally destroy and scratch the bottom of your pan as well. All right, if your soup is boiling, lower it a tiny bit. Okay, here we go. So we've whisked that. We're gonna continue whisking it until it's thickened. And then we're just gonna add in the rest of the ingredients. So here we go. I'm gonna season it with a little bit of salt. Okay, nutmeg, which goes beautifully in like cheesy cream sauces. You may think I'm crazy, but it's like very classic in these kinds of mac and cheese and like creamy pasta recipes. That smells so good. Mustard, which gives it another little boost of flavor. Even if you're not necessarily a mustard person, gives it some really good flavor. Okay, bring it up to a boil and you will see the milk will start to thicken. Okay, and I think it's just so much fun. Kids love like a creamy sauce, kind of like an Alfredo type of sauce. All right, so here's what's cool about this. We have our pasta standing by, ready to go. We have some cauliflower rice. So I just figured, why not throw a vegetable in there just to get a vegetable in there. No one's even gonna know it's there. You're just gonna know that it's a little bit lighter. And you're getting some veggies into your family. And I also have some Parmesan cheese and we have some mozzarella cheese. So get that all ready. Okay, and we're gonna be mixing this all together. You could mix it in a separate bowl, but I don't like to waste bowls. I'm like, if I'm already, using a baking dish for something, why not just use the baking dish to mix it, okay? Also, if you wanted to use some of that sage in here, if you think your kids would be into that, sage is so great. You could even fry it in some oil and then like crisp it all up, all into it. Or you could just chop it and throw it in there. It adds really, really great boost of flavor. Some kids are not as into that, so just do it whatever your family likes. But if you want to go a little more sophisticated, totally throw that in. You can even throw it into the sauce so that it really distributes and adds like a nice earthy flavor. So you already see starting to thicken. Okay, let it keep going, thicken a couple more minutes. I wish I had like an overhead camera. I need to like install cameras all up here. It's the dream. So you see it starting to like bubble and kind of pull away from the side of the pot. And I'm gonna show you one little thing quickly. The way you know your bechamel sauce is ready. And now that you know how to make a bechamel sauce, make it all the time. You could make it any single time you want. You could do such great things with this. The way you know it's ready, this is called nappe. You know it's thick enough when you could coat the back of a spoon. It's very hot. And it stays in place. That's how you know it's thick enough. See that? Boop. Make sure you taste it. So good, but needs some salt. Adding some salt to it. Plus the pasta, I didn't salt my pasta water, so that doesn't have any actual flavor in it either. So make sure you season it. You could add a little bit more nutmeg if you prefer. And then we have, so I told you guys to get frozen cauliflower. This is regular. I'm just gonna throw this into my sauce actually. Okay. Because these are like kind of big pieces of cauliflower that I bought. I'm not like the biggest fan of this cauliflower at all. So I'm just throwing it into my like really hot, if you're not using frozen, using fresh, throw it into your sauce because the heat from the sauce will like start to cook it a little bit and you won't end up with raw cauliflower. Either way, this is all gonna cook for a while. But try to get a head start on that cooking process by throwing it into your sauce. And then, okay, let me just make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Here we go. Add the cauliflower rice and then the cheeses. And then you're gonna mix it into here and you're gonna store it overnight and then you're gonna bake it fresh. So, okay, at this point, you can get rid of your whisk. You don't need it anymore. Come on out. It's not the worst when like the stuff gets stuck inside the whisk. Okay. I would just let it go. But don't you hate when you're like watching Food Network and they leave like the whole bottom of the bowl of like the chocolate cake batter and I'm like, scrape it out, come on. I hate that, right? I know you totally feel me. I know you feel me. All right, here we go. So, spatula. We have our cheese that I'm going to add in here. And the rest of the cheese I'm gonna use to just coat the top. So I'm gonna leave a little bit extra. I'm also gonna leave a little bit of Parmesan to coat the top as well. But I just added all my cheeses in here. Give it all a big mix around. Oh my God, so good. Okay, see that? Nice cheesy mixture. And here's what you're gonna do. You're just gonna let it all mix together. So, put it all in your baking pan and try to just like work it together. You guys see what I'm doing here? There we go. All right, so I know it may look kind of weird right now, but just mix it all together. It's definitely easier to do it in like a separate bowl, so feel free to do that if you prefer. Or if you're lazy like me, you just want to do it all in one baking dish so you don't have to wash it. That's the way I roll. So just kind of turn it onto itself so you're fully coating it. I kind of like these big shells. I was not expecting to get such big shells. I ordered online, but any pasta works here. And you could do whole wheat, as I mentioned. You could do the quinoa pasta. You could do white pasta. You could even just do this on any vegetables that you like. Okay, there we go. So easy. And look at all that cauliflower you have in there. So you could feel so good about feeding this to your kids because they're not going to see it. It doesn't look green. It's white. And you're not going to really taste it. It's just in there. And it's our little secret. I won't tell them if you don't, okay? Okay, so now just kind of like press it down a little bit so that it kind of all fits in there. Beautiful. Take the remainder of your cheese, and I like to just coat the tops with that little bit of mozzarella so you get that nice crispy crust that everybody loves in mac and cheese. If you want to even add some breadcrumbs and even some garlic powder to the top, I'm totally into that as well. So make it your own, do what you like. If you have any big clumps, just go like that. And that is it, my friends. You are going to store this in the fridge, covered until you're ready to bake it fresh that night. It's gonna be oozy and bubbly and cheesy and so good. We have the peas, we have the sausage and the peppers. We have our tortilla soup that's just about done cooking. I'm turning the fire off and I'm just going to blend it with an immersion blender. And we have our Brussels sprouts that are roasting in the oven. They'll be like another 10 minutes or so until they're cooked. And that's it. And all week long, you're gonna have the most unbelievable dinners. You have your tortilla soup. I'll take you up here. The tortilla soup. You have the sausage and peppers that you're gonna be serving in buns. The cauliflower mac and cheese. Then you're repurposing the other half of that chicken. Oh, we have the taco chicken as well, which we're gonna cook fresh that night. And that's it. You're gonna put those on these flatbreads. You're gonna mix together some marinara sauce and teriyaki for like the most unbelievable kind of like smoky barbecue-esque sauce. And you're gonna love those flatbreads. Let your kids assemble their own, make it fun, enjoy it. And I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing week. Let me know how it goes. Again, everything is on prepandrally.com. You can subscribe and get access to all these PDFs. You can find me on Prep and Rally on Facebook, on the private Facebook group, and on Instagram. We're Prep and Rally all over. Thank you guys for joining, and have an amazing, amazing week. Love you guys, and we'll see you back here next week. Bye.